This story is about a famous archer named Jan. He was known to everyone in the neighborhood. He was a monster hunter, for which he got a lot of money. He hunted creatures from ogres to dragons. He was given tasks through a game in which he found monsters. Ian possessed untrained agility and maneuverability. He knew over 1,000 techniques and tricks. He was level 93. He had years of practice and training under his belt. After a couple of punches and archery shots, he knocks the unfortunate ogre to the ground and defeats him. Ian gets 5,910 experience. He's a bit tired, but still happy to have another victory. "I'll get about 100,000 gold and take a break," Jan said after thinking for a while. His job is very exhausting when you're constantly experiencing mud and cries for mercy from various monsters. Ian took his bow and went on his way. But as soon as he started walking, a curtain of white smoke appeared in front of him. From behind the smoke, the silhouette of two ogres could be seen with the naked eye. One was slightly taller than the other. It turned out to be a two-headed ogre. They greeted Jan with joy, as if they had been waiting for him. This monster was about 10 meters tall. They didn't scare Jan, of course. He eats them for breakfast. Ian pulled an arrow from the tool and took the bow to the ready. After Yang landed with his knee on the ground, he said, "I survived thanks to the accelerating ability." Ian could activate the acceleration ability, but the downside was that it wasn't infinite. And when he needed it, its time was running out, with 1 more minute of activity left. "Shit," he said. But Ian didn't give up. It was just an incentive to finish this creep off in 1 minute. The archer activates the last of his strength to unleash a powerful punch. Ian accelerates and runs at full speed at the demon. He has to avoid being hit by the demon. He set a trap for the monster, but it's his last trap. He has no other choice. He has no choice but to take his chances. Ian sets a trap on the ground in the form of a stone with blue sparks and lightning, and, "Come here, you son of a loser!" the monster shouted to him. He jumped to the height of a 9-story building, swinging his mace. Ian needs to get his timing right. If he's only 0.01 seconds wrong, he's finished. Ian activated his ability and unleashed a punch just when he needed it. The monster missed again. The timing of the strike was perfect. Ian drew the bowstring and issued a high-discharge stun trap. The target would be stunned for 5 seconds and vulnerable. Here came the demon. Ian shot his arrow and stunned it. Skill activation. Increase critical damage, precision shot, focus and hit. That's it. He has nowhere else to run. The enemy is defeated. The arrow pierced the demon straight through the heart and then it fell to the ground. The impact was so loud that Ian's ears popped a little. Ian's tablet received a new notification that he had slain a two-headed ogre. For that, he received 98,500 experience. Not a bad end to the day. "All right, let's see what items fell out," Jan said. An ogre warrior shoulder pad and ogre warrior boots fell out. Damn! The chance of getting even 1 item from an ogre warrior set is equal to winning the lottery. And I got 2 whole items. Ian shrieked in shock. "If you sell them, it would be at least 5 million won. Luck is on my side today," he added. But that wasn't all the good news for today. Ian couldn't believe his eyes. The crystal of Mullen had fallen to him. It was one of the rarest crystals. He thought it was impossible for an ordinary archer to be so lucky. "Crystal Mulan? Oh my!" Ian said excitedly. Almost all the hunters from the county where Ian lived played Kylan. It's the world's best VR game that came out about half a year ago. It had over 10 million active users. It was played by mages, archers, warriors, etc. An incredibly popular game that completely dominates the gaming industry. Jan lived in a post-industrial small town. All the houses there were very small. He lived on the highest floor. He didn't go home like everyone else, but from the roof. He had a capsule at home through which he could enter the game world. Sometimes he thought it would be better if that world were real than this one he was living in. "When I bought a VR capsule for 10 million won to play Kylan, using the money my parents gave me for my studies and all my savings from my part-time job," Yang recalled. Everyone told him he was crazy. There are so many ways to invest money. Investing in houses, jewelry, or opening his own shop, it's a good business. But Ian decided that his calling was the game Kylan, because there he felt really alive. Even though Ian downloaded the game 2 months after its release, he was able to pump an impressive archer in just 4 months. He was very popular in the game, and the girls dreamed of getting his number. Each hunt earns him 200,000 won per hour. That's almost $200. That's a lot of money, you thought. Yang thought so too. He realized that he couldn't make that kind of money now with an ordinary backyard shop. Yang had already managed to earn several million won by playing this game. The problem was that they recently announced the upcoming big update to Killin, after which a new region and 3 new classes will be added. This will be the Summoner. His skin is very cool. He has glasses, long gray hair, and he can defeat fire-breathing dragons. Next is the Dark Sorcerer. Not a bad character either, but not Jan's style. And lastly, a character called the Assassin. Sounds intriguing. All the Killin players were very happy about this news. But there was one big problem. In order to get a new character, you had to delete the current one. Ian had so much to do with that archer. Jan had a friend with whom they played this game together. "We shouldn't care about this." Ian's friend expressed his opinion about the game. "To start playing as a new class, you have to delete your character. We're too far gone," he added. That was their plan. The Crystal of Mulan. An item that can unlock access to a hidden class from an NPC. This is an incredibly valuable item. In other words, Ian was very lucky to get it. But the problem was that it could only be used by characters below level 10 who hadn't undergone a class change. His second thought was that he would have to delete his character if he wanted to use it. But delete the character after getting all that money? Ian fell to his knees. He didn't know what he should do now. He called his friend to get some advice, but his friend's reply upset him. "You want to remove your level 93 archer? Are you kidding me? Such a waste?" A friend was angered by Yang's news about selling the character. "One of the best in Korea. You're in the top 1,000 players, and top 100 among all archers. Are you willing to lose all that?" Tried to talk Yang out of it. "You think I don't know? But this is a chance to unlock the first hidden class among the new classes. I can't just throw this item away," Ian said to his friend, thus talking him into this decision. "You should already know a little bit about the new hidden classes that have been revealed. You know that there's a player with the sniper class in our guild, right?" a friend said. "I know. Went hunting with him recently," Ian replied. "Do you think this sniper is much better than your archer?" a friend asked. "We have a pretty big difference in levels, so I can't say. But he definitely has advantages over the archer," said Ian. Ian was telling his friend what he knew about the sniper. "Their attack range is incredible, and their attack power is very high, but their rate of fire is pretty lame. I guess he has the hardest time fighting a large crowd of weak mobs?" "Right. I was going to say that even if it's a hidden class, it doesn't mean it's going to be imbuer," added the friend. Ian knew that, but his friend didn't understand why. Then he wanted to lose everything and start from scratch. His friend tried to talk him out of it, telling him that he could easily earn 1,000,001 a day just by hunting. But Yang was unstoppable. Jan asked his friend why he was playing this game. He replied because he was having fun. "That's the main answer," said Jan. After all, the new hidden class is the new fun that Jan wants. His friend called him a jerk, but still didn't get in Jan's way. It was his decision. The friend wished Jan good luck, telling him to do a good job. Ian stepped into the capsule and went back to his game. He came to a small village. The weather was lovely. The sun was shining and the birds were singing. Ian approached one vendor. This vendor was sitting on a rug and selling various scrolls, spells, etc. Ian looked around the vendor, eyeing his merchandise. "What do you want?" the salesman asked. "I'm looking for a rebirth potion," Ian said seriously. The salesman grinned and said, "You're lucky. You've come to the right place." From a distant bag, the vendor pulled out a vial of potion. It was bright red in color. "I just got it," he said. Ian took the vial in his hands, but the salesman grabbed him sharply by the hand. Jan was frightened and indignant. "You know that, right? Once you drink it, you'll lose all the power you've gained," said the vendor. "And there's no getting it back," he added. Ian reassured the salesman by saying that's why he was going to drink it. He took the potion and went on his way. He walked all day. Jan stopped somewhere on a hill. There was a full moon. He looked at the vial and thought it was the most expensive rebirth potion. Maybe it would even have better attributes if he was lucky. The rebirth potion had its own characteristic. It was brewed by ancient alchemists. After consuming it, the character would be reset, and your level and all attributes would be reset. Ian believed he had made the right choice. "I will make even more money with my new class," he said. "Let's get started." He opened the vial and drank the potion sip by sip. After that, his level and attributes were reset. The town where Ian purchased the potion was a town called Trumbin, specifically the training center. In this training center, there were many disciples who were training with dummies filled with sand. The training was with swords. They had an old, wise trainer. That's where Yang practiced. He decided to learn how to wield a sword. "Impossible," said the trainer. Ian was a very fast learner. His skills grew day by day. His flexibility increased through training, and his agility attribute increased by 1. So also his survivability and intelligence attribute has increased. Is he even human? How many days does he practice without rest? Ian has been working so hard, because finally the update is coming out tomorrow. He was crazy motivated. The next day, a hidden classroom was revealed to Ian. The gate to this classroom was a huge, ancient gate. A bright purple light could be seen behind the gate. Retinal scans are done. Yan is ready for the update. Mr. Ian, welcome to Killin, the game greeted him. Ian found himself back in some village, but his character hadn't fully loaded yet, and he looked like a hologram. Here was his character ready for a full game. First, we need to find the Summoners Guild, Ian said. Jan walked up to a beautiful, old-fashioned house. It had many windows, brick gray walls, and a brown roof. This was the Summoners Guild. He went into the house, but no one greeted him. He asked, "Is anyone here?" The house was completely empty on the first floor. Ian decided that he should go up to the second floor to see if anyone was there. But there was no one there either. Looks like Ian will be the first. Jan went up to the second floor. The steps were wooden, like all the parts in the house. He went into some kind of office. It was full of books. Big panoramic windows. Someone was sitting at a desk. It was the master of the Cane Guild. Ian walked into the center of the summoner class change. "I want to change my class to summoner." Ian turned to the master about the request. The master looked at Jan and said, "The path of a summoner is not easy. Not everyone can control fierce monsters." "I know, but I believe this class is as strong as it is difficult to illuminate," said Ian. "Of course it is," replied Master Cane. "Okay, I think you're a suitable candidate," Cane agreed. "I'm going to ask you one last time. Do you really want to change your class to summoner?" The wizard interrogated Jan. After all, this is an important step for a player. But Jan was confident in his decision. "I think I should give it to him now." Ian thought to himself about his Mulan crystal. But still he gave the crystal to the master. Cane was in complete shock. "What? That's—" he said. He was sweating, scared. He had never seen this crystal in person. "That's the crystal left behind by the continent's hero, Mulan." "So you know about him," said John cheerfully. "You are much more interesting than I thought," added the master. "Great! Now give me a hidden class," Ian said with a satisfied face and a wide smile. "Then why don't you do me a favor?" the boy asked. "Whatever it takes," Cane said, and held out for the crystal. "Recently, a blue-eyed wolf has appeared in the plains of Ramad. My son recently changed his class to summoner and has stated that he wants to make the blue-eyed wolf his familiar," Cane told Ian. Jan got angry and said, "I want you to grab him." "What?" the master asked in surprise. The blue-eyed wolf was a rare monster with a level above 40. It didn't look like a normal wolf. It was twice as big. Its fur was gray with a blue tint, and its eyes glowed like crystals. Why is such a strong monster involved in a level 10 player's class change quest? Jan asked to himself. Since I'm busy with my duties here, I won't be able to go myself. And I'm ashamed to say it, but my son is too weak to rein in such a monster, Cane said uneasily. The master gave Cane 5 magic binding scrolls. Ian was to tire the wolf as much as possible, and then bind it with these scrolls. "The wolf that appeared in the Ramad Plains is still young, so it shouldn't be too strong," Master Jan reassured. Ian received an in-game notification about the quest, Capture the Blue-Eyed Wolf in the Plains of Ramud. The quest difficulty is E. The reward for completing the quest is a summoner class, plus a monster booster. When Jan saw him obtain a monster gas pedal, he got terribly excited. After all, it was a hidden class. Ian pressed yes on the notification. "I will bring this wolf to you at any cost," Yang said. "Thank you. I hope you come back with good news," wished Cane good luck. But Cane said that if it failed, Ian could go back, and he would give him backup. Ian wondered if the quest would not be lost if even he failed it. "That's it. There's no turning back." Ian set off to complete the quest. "I'll do it," he said, and off he went. By late afternoon, Ian was already on the Ramud Plain. On average, there are 10th-level monsters dwelling there. Even if it was a blue-eyed wolf, it shouldn't be too strong since it was still young. Although Ian is level 10, his attributes are closer to level 30 players. He should be able to do well. He ran and popped his way, came into the game. "Look at that stallion." "Found it," he said. The wolf stood on one of the rocks in the desert. But that's when Ian got a shock. The wolf was level 20. He wasn't upset because his attributes were high. He wondered if all hidden class quests were this difficult. But at least he wouldn't have to worry about killing him with one hit. That could happen if he was a level 10. "Well, let's get started." Jan found the wolf. He took it in his hands, drew the bowstring, and prepared to shoot the wolf. Ian released an arrow. It flew quickly and accurately at the target. It hit the wolf's back. The wolf is really pissed off. He's ready for battle. The wolf ran toward Ian. Ian thought for a moment. The wolf might die. Then he decided to act differently. Ian swung around and punched him right in the jaw. His blow was precise and deafening. The wolf was in a lot of pain. Tears even started to flow from his bright blue eyes. Ian had even forgotten that he could swing his fists pretty well. "I'll beat you first," he said, kneading his fists. Once again, the wolf was hit in the face with a precise punch from Ian. The monster's health level must drop to a certain level before binding. But unfortunately, the binding had failed. The wolf lay looming, looking like it was no longer alive. The wolf still managed to get up, though. I'm sure he'll die if I hit him again. What am I supposed to do? Ian pondered. Then we need to heal this monster a bit so it doesn't die. Ian gave him a bone and meat. But the quest should not be forgotten. Ian let himself down and started beating the wolf again. Ian activated the binding again, after which he successfully bound the blue-eyed wolf. A glowing ray appeared around it and bound it. Finally, he exhaled a breath that he was able to tie him up. The beating always worked. Ian activated the scroll. I've wasted quite a bit of time. Probably a lot of users have already changed their class to summoner, Ian thought to himself. He should hurry up. Jan returned to the guild, walked into the master's house. "Oh, Jan, you're back," said the master with ease. "Yeah, that's right. Stubborn turned out to be a wolf," said the boy. "It was not an easy task," Kane added. But Yang was able to rein in the wolf. He lifted his hand up, in which was the scroll. Kane was shocked. This news shocked the master that he even let down from his chair. "You have curbed the blue-eyed wolf?" he asked in surprise. "Yes. Is there something wrong?" Ian said. "This is just unbelievable. The first monster tamer quest was supposed to be a failure. But I did it? Unbelievable." Kane was really surprised for this boy. Jan scratched his head and asked Kane, "Can I be a monster tamer now?" To which he replied that he was no match for Ian the tamer. The boy didn't understand a thing. How is he not suited to be a tamer? Then who's right for him? Kane let down and said loudly, "Do you not want to go the way of the master?" Ian received a new notification from the game. Guildmaster Kane is amazed by your potential. He wishes to mentor you on the path of a master. He smiled slightly from it, but then it dawned on him that the whole quest he was on had been set up to suit the master. If he accepted his offer, he could become a taming master. Jan was faced with a choice: accept the offers and become a taming master or refuse. "It must be that a taming master is much higher in level than a monster tamer," Jan said happily. Jan has made a decision. He wants to become a master. He started the transformation to change the class to a new one, a taming master. His new attributes were attraction, taming, and leadership. On top of that, he received 500 reputation points. Ian became the first master of taming. The house they were in radiated a bright purple color. A class change was taking place. Ian has become a master tamer. Now he has a new sense of self. It's like a fresh start. The first thing he must do is tame the summoned beast. Ian remembered the trailer for the game update. When he saw the summoner, that was the character he liked the most. He wants to tame the bloodwolf like in that trailer. He should be the first in Kylene. He has such a great chance to show everyone what he can do. The meeting place of the new class was in the quarry. But when Ian saw who was standing there, he was a little upset. There were 5 summoners of the new class standing there. They were both mages and swordsmen. "Looks like there are already some who have transferred to the new class," Ian said frustratedly, because he thought he was the most special. The purpose of gathering all the summoners of the new class was to hunt the blood wolf. There was a line for that wolf. These summoners were powerful indeed. One of them activated a spell and released fire magic that hit the wolf exactly. Its back lit up with flames. They worked as a team. Each helped to weaken the wolf. "His health is almost at 0, said one of the summoners. He was a good swordsman. "Good, then let's seal him up," said one of the mages. Their chief mage, who stood in the center, activated the blood wolf's grip. A blue circle formed beneath him. But the wolf was able to jump in from the circle. All the people were shocked. They tried to grab him so he couldn't escape. The wolf still managed to escape from the great hunters. All that was left of him was the dust and sand that rose from his speed. Ian had been watching intently the whole time. Oh, it must be a pain in the ass to meet a blood wolf again after missing it. It's a good thing I was able to observe them. Apparently, it's really hard to capture a high-ranking monster, and it takes a long time to find them. It's probably best for Jan to start by capturing any monster he encounters. Ian approached the rock-shaped small archway and thought about how it would be curious how many wolves he would be able to capture with his score in leadership. He stood on the edge of the cliff and looked down. There were 3 blue-eyed wolves walking by. He had defeated one of them before. Ian decided to start with this particular trio. He took out his bow, drew the bowstring, and fired from the bow. Naturally, he hit the bullseye, or rather the wolf's bullseye. He pulled out a scroll and began activating the capture. Well, first one to go. Ian successfully captured one of the wolves. Jan got some information about the wolf. It turned out to be an ordinary wolf living in the grasslands. It had a personality type of timid. Ian was surprised that monsters had a personality type. All right, let's keep hunting. Ian scratched the back of his head and started on the second wolf. He had captured the second wolf. Now he was curious to find out what the other monsters' personalities were. Jan's eyes bulged. After all, the second wolf was witty. How could this be? Who even came up with that? This wolf has the same level as the previous one, but its attributes are noticeably higher, and it has a different name. He found it interesting that monsters of the same type and level could have different attributes. Climbing further up the cliff, he saw a pack of wolves. Then let's see which of these wolves has the highest attributes, said Jan. Ian had the idea that he could catch wolves all day long. In this way, he could improve his skills and find new attributes. He prepared for the shot, activated his grip, and fired an arrow. I will capture those wolves with the highest attributes, he said. But what a disappointment it was to see the usual wolves again. The attribute attraction was increased by 1 after a series of successful captures. Ian was getting a little tired of constantly hunting these common wolves. Repetition, repetition. That's life, said Ian. He earned the title of Wolf Specialist for capturing a large number of wolves. With this title, he would be able to identify the strongest wolves without capture. That was a cool feature. It would be cool if it could be done with all monsters. It would speed up the work a lot. Now Ian could activate the analysis. He raised his hand, and an analytical field formed in front of him, through which he could look at the wolves. He looked at the wolves and saw that they had different levels. Someone had 10, 11, but one of them had 12. Since level is not the main feature of a good wolf, he chose a level 11 wolf. He was the strongest and most likely to have high attributes. The wolf started growling at Ian, but it only made him laugh. What? What are you going to do? He said. Ian activated his bow. The wolf jumped at him, but Jan easily overpowered it. The poor wolf lay all battered on the sand. Yep, looks like you know your place now, Ian said and activated the grip. It was surprising that after capturing it, when Jan saw its characterization, he found that the wolf had level 13 attributes. Plus, it could evolve. Ian had never seen anything like it before. He let the other wolves go, since he didn't need them anymore. He should concentrate on training this one. Jan set the wolf on the ground and said Lai. That's what he called him. Lai smiled, seeming to like his new name. Jan and Lai's closeness increased, and their loyalty increased as well. He didn't even know it was possible to develop such an attribute as loyalty. But it was cool, because now he had a loyal friend, Lai. All right, it's time to hunt. Let's go, Lai, Jan commanded. After that, the two of them set off together. Our Lotus Guild became much weaker when Jing's son left, said Yang's red-haired friend. He was sitting in a large office cubicle. He said he's changing classes to conscript. I wonder how he's doing, when he'll be back already. And the summoners. Are they any good in combat? My friend was wondering how Ian was doing. He reached into his laptop to look at the fight stats and what Ian's progress was, but the headings in the table had wild names. Let's take a look at this, he said, and proceeded to analyze the website where the fight results are highlighted. On the site, he found the callers' comments about the hunt and their conclusions. He read the conclusion of one of the level 12 players. I've been a summoner since the launch of the servers. First of all, this class is very fun. But there is a very big drawback. You gain experience very slowly. There has been a lot of negative feedback about the game update. But that's okay. The developers will see their shortcomings and solve them. Based on the reviews, it is true that the level increase is very slow at first. His friend wondered if it might take Ian a long time to reach level 2 and join the guild. Meanwhile, it was a quiet night in Kalen's game. A red light could be seen on the horizon. Jan continued to hunt wolves with his pet and improve his skills in fighting them. But what Ian's friend didn't know yet was that he had managed to reach level 21st in the hidden class game. Ian started calling Lai short for Lu. He liked it better that way. It seemed to him as if she were closer to each other. Lu, attack after my arrow hits. Don't attack first, Yang said. He activated the Blessing of Wind and his agility increased by 37%. The arrow went straight into the monster. This time they were hunting a fox. After his master shot, Barking rushed after him to weaken him and catch him. Lu caught up to the fox and grabbed at his back. The fox squealed like a puppy and fell to the ground. The animals continued to fight. The fox tried to break free of the wolf's fangs, but Lu was tougher and faster. Ian was surprised that Lu doesn't give up fighting the red fox, even though his level and attributes are lower than the fox. He's probably so persistent because of his personality. Ian commanded Lai to move away from the fox. Now it was his turn to hunt. He drew the bowstring and began to shoot. They defeated the red fox, for which they got 265 experience. The experience is divided in half between them. Well done, good robot. So our experience is shared equally. We need to pump Lu to at least level 15. Ian said. He was a bit frustrated with this division function, but that was his motivation to improve the pet. He was able to activate the rookie training ability, after which he began to understand Lu better. Jan trained his wolf in different commands. After that, the pet's potential improved with each new training session. They also trained the team in first aid. This is very important because after each battle, some of them have injuries of varying degrees of severity. After long, tedious, and agonizing training, Lai still mastered all the commands and reached level 15. Well, they're ready for battle. No one can beat them now. The only thing that disappoints John is the slow pumping. It's probably because the experience is shared equally. But Lu is a lot of fun to train with, said Ian. He looked at the wolf and was glad that he was his pet. Lai grows significantly stronger with each level up, and that pleases them both. Now they can hunt much stronger animals, like the bear. They found new bear hunting tasks and started hunting bears. Jan and Lu went to a new location to hunt bears. The bears were big. They had black fur with a white heel on their chest and glowing eyes. They were among the rocks and trees. Ian's new abilities were a berserk warrior's blessing and a rookie's tactics. It's not for nothing, Migrandili. Let's see what these abilities are. He looked up in the tablet that it's an enhancement ability, and it's pretty good. Well, with rookie tactics, he finds that it increases leadership by 10%. Perhaps I can capture the bear, said Ian cheerfully. Ian lowered his head and decided it was worth a try to catch them. He wondered if there was anyone here stronger than Lu. After a little thought, Ian activated the bear's grip. It worked. My leadership has increased significantly thanks to the newcomer's tactics. Let's compare its attributes with Lu's, Yang said, and began to study the bear's characteristic. But something surprised him. He found that the bear was level 38, and his Lu was only level 15. Kind of weak for a wolf. Ian remembered Lai's characterization that he could evolve, but when would he evolve already? He was curious to see what he would be like after it. Ian decided to let the bear go for now. Had a good rest, Lu. Farm time, Ian said, and they went into battle. Activating the blessing of the wind and the blessing of the berserk warrior, they rushed towards the bear to capture it and obtain the attributes. Ian pointed his hand at one of the bears and commanded Lu to draw that bear to him. Lai proceeded to take the fight to the big monster. Even though the bear was many times bigger than him, it was faster. Lu bit the bear's muzzle, and they fought to the death. Lu surrounded the bear from all sides so that it could not catch up with him. The wolf was having fun fighting the bear. He was practically out of breath. Ian stopped Lu. Now it was his turn. This rookie tactic is really good. Lu understands perfectly what I need from him, Ian said in a satisfied voice. He drew the bowstring and fired. The two of them defeated the bear, after which Yang successfully made a capture. The bear was already lying motionless. When the hunters make a capture, the monster's body turns blue. After this bout, Lu hung his level up to 19th, which couldn't be happier. Yang was just happy. Lai was happy about this news too. They are a good team. Jan stroked his wolf and said, "Yes, keep growing. Soon you will be unrivaled." But it still bothered him that they were very slow to level up. When they were both level 20, they would need to take quests. That's it for today. Few the life of a nerd requires careful planning, Ian said, then returned to reality, back to his home. Ian had finally come home. After so many months of being interrupted in the game, it was worth it to live a real life. He went to the shower, freshened up. "Gotta check the forum before I go to bed," he said. Ian already assumed there would be a bunch of complaints from some losers. He sat down at his laptop and started looking at the site. When he opened the site, he saw what he expected. Lots of negative reviews. That supposedly slow pumping, the summoner is useless. Ian agrees about the slow progression, but there was a lot of whining from the commenters. He wanted to see if there was any feedback from people above level 15, because after that you can improve your player faster. What? No one? I'm level 20. There should be plenty of players above level 15. But there's no one here, Yang said. Ian found a 13 TH level character. Maybe at least he would surprise him with something. His grasp, wind blessing, and first aid are the same as mine, he said in surprise. In the game, he found a new ability called Obsession. He wondered what, but what a disappointment it was. Ian didn't have that ability, even though his player level is much higher. Ian sat on the chair and said unhappily, "Even the level of the summoned beast doesn't increase. That's the most interesting thing about playing as a summoner. I don't have this ability, but I don't really want it." The thing is, the abilities of ordinary summoners are different from Yang's. In that case, Ian thought about his ability that the other players didn't have. Ian had his own special ability. It was rookie training. So at least he was starting to feel special too after remembering it. I don't have much information, but to summarize, a taming master has less combat ability than a normal summoner. Is it easier for me to pump my pet? Ian said. Ian was moving in the right direction. The main thing was to go to the goal, train, improve his skills, and then he would definitely become the best of the summoners. The idea of trying to capture a monster of a rare or unique class came to him. It was a good idea, but would it work out in practice? Ian stepped into the capsule and traveled to the world of Killen. He hadn't seen his pet in a while. He put on his VR glasses and started the game. Yang had already thought of a plan of action. He would get Lu to level 20 before the sun came up. And so John was already in the game, with his faithful Lai by his side. He told him of his plan, and they went into action. Archer activated his abilities Blessing of the Wind and Berserk Warrior, as well as his special rookie training. They found a suitable bear. Lu was already running at it, and Ian was loading his bow. Bullseye! Ian is as quick and accurate as ever. He hit the bear right in the chest and activated the tackle. Lu had unfinished business. He wanted to become more agile and faster so that bears would become easier for him. Lai clawed right into his neck so hard that he started squealing like a puppy. Victory! They captured the Moon Bear 4, which gained them 545 experience. Ian was very surprised at their speed. For an archer, I couldn't hunt here until I reached level 35. My farming speed is much faster than back then, which couldn't help but feel good about it. Their already permanent team continued to hunt the moon bears. They defeated them one by one. They came running into a clearing where bears are most often found. But Jian noticed that one of them was much bigger than the others. John analyzed the statistics. It turned out to be a coal-black moon bear. It had a huge scar on its muzzle. It was a unique monster. They finally found it. Ian wondered if he could capture it, or was it not his level yet? After he analyzed it, the game said that his leadership was too low to catch the creature in question. Of course, he was upset that he was still too weak for such tasks, but it wasn't Ian's style to just give up. They ran at the bear. "When I'm in town, I'll have to buy more magic binding scrolls," said Jan. Ian released an arrow, activating the coal bear's grip. Lu didn't stand idly by either, and also fought the animal. "Now that Lu fights almost as well as I do, level 38 monsters aren't a problem at all," said Jan. What a great guy Lai was. He didn't give up but fought a strong opponent. After that, he won a sweet victory and got 1,045 experience. Lu's level had increased to level 20. Jan was very happy for his pet. Since full abilities in Killen are only unlocked after reaching level 20, guild registration, dungeons, imperial quests, and so on require level 20. I wonder how the items Yang received this time. He got moon bear meat, a bear hunter's battle hammer, and a coal-black necklace. Ian had never seen such objects before. I guess the uniqueness of the animal makes itself felt after all. Using the identification scroll, Ian activated the scroll. He clicked on the black necklace, decided to see its properties. The necklace was of untutored beauty. Each facet of the stone was beautiful and unusual in its own way. After Jan touched it, it began to glow with a bright purple ray. Ian remembered that he once had a necklace from the auction, but this coal-black necklace was not even close to it. It's much better. This was the first good loot since the game reset, so the items looted pretty good. But what about Lu's attributes? Attack increased by 4, defense by 2, and agility. What is it? Monsters get much stronger as they level up? No, something doesn't add up. Ian was very surprised at Lu's results. This was something that needed to be dealt with. The rate of growth is not regular. The creators seem to have made the growth random. Jan decided to find out more about it. We need to find out how it all works. And then it hit him. It was all about his potential. The secret is in the attribute of potential. Rookie training increases Lu's potential. After every rookie training, Lu's potential would increase, and from that, the rate of attribute growth would increase. Yang knew that the rookie training was too cool. He was right in that the hidden class has its own unique abilities that Ian goes out to unravel. The monster class itself is upgraded due to potential, and the beginner's training ability increases it. Ian opened the game and decided he was going to spend all his skill points on practicing. He was glad he hadn't spent any points earlier on capturing that bear. It feels good to have solved this mystery of the game. Right now, Lu's potential is 94, but pretty soon it will be 100 inches, said Jan as he pondered his future plans. Ian glanced at the time and saw that he had wasted almost an hour of his time on all this thinking. He needed to get experience faster. Ian came back from the game. He sat at the computer and ate a sandwich while looking at the game statistics and any other news about the game. If he had studied with the same diligence and interest in reality, he probably would have become some sort of PhD or a judge on the Supreme Court. In the vastness of the game's website, Ian found a video about a dark sorcerer. There were 3 skeletons in the video, which Ian thought were pretty cute, and behind them stood the very dark sorcerer. Suddenly someone called him, though he wasn't expecting a call from anyone. It was some unknown number. He decides to still pick up the phone and pick up the receiver. "Hello, this is Mr. Jin's son," Yang was told, and he answered that yes, it was him. On the phone, someone introduced himself to him as Li Jiheng, a teacher's assistant in the virtual reality department of a Korean university. Yang got a little nervous. "Oh, hello, miss," he said. He was asked if he knew Professor Lee Jin-wook. He said that, yes, of course. That's the head professor of the department. And then he got a shock. This professor asked John to call him. His jaw just dropped. John decided to find out why he needed to call him. He was told that it was probably because of his grades. "It looks like Jan is being expelled from the university." "Miss, what happens if I don't call the professor back?" Yang asked Lee Ji-cheng. "The professor said he'd send his grades to his house. And it's not the apartment he lives in now. It's his parents' house." Ian became nervous. If his father saw his grades, he wouldn't be able to leave the house again. The father will be disappointed with his son, and he will force Jana to return home at the peak of his youth. Jan told Miss to call the professor back. She laughed a little and said, "That's a great decision, and see you next semester, Mr. Jin-sun." He realizes in frustration that he still has to call him. He started looking up the professor's number in his phone book. Strangely enough, the professor immediately picked up the phone. "Hello, is this Lee Jin-wook?" Yang asked. "Hello, sir, this is Park Jin-soon. Heard you were looking for me," he added. "Jin-soon Park? Oh, right, a new student," said the professor. "Yes, I was wondering what you wanted me to do," said Yang uncertainly. "Don't you have any guesses?" the professor asked. Of course, Ian realized it was because of his grades, but it was worth asking. He spoke so nervously that the professor began to worry if the student was okay. The professor was getting annoyed with why he didn't participate in the life of the faculty and how he managed to be on the verge of expulsion at the end of the first semester. "Isn't it because of the 3 non-counts in a row? I should only have 2, said Ian. The professor was sitting in his office talking to Ian. "That's right, but now I'm thinking of giving you a 3rd, he said gruffly. Jan was more than a little pissed off by these empty threats. Why the F is he doing this? But he pulled himself together and asked him what he should do. The professor said that first he had to think about how to get out of the fact that he was not involved in the life of the faculty. What nonsense, he can't say it's because of the game. He doesn't even have time for real life, and then there's university. "Oh, I've got it," he said. "Sir, you see, the reason why I chose the virtual reality department is because I admire the unlimited potential of virtual reality," Ian said confidently. "So I decided to study virtual reality from the inside out," said the student. "So you're saying that you didn't come to university because you were playing a game all day long?" the professor asked in surprise. But he wasn't just playing. He was exploring the incredibly detailed virtual world available in Killen. The professor asked what his level was, but Yang didn't understand what it was for at first. "If you worked so hard, you should be ranked among the top players in Korea, shouldn't you?" Then Yang remembered that he was deleting the game and starting over, right? Ian tried to explain to the professor his problem in the game. He said that he originally had level 93, but because he had recently reset his character, he was now level 20. "That's just ridiculous," said the professor. "But it's true, sir," Ian tried to say. The professor thought he was holding him for a fool. "You think because you say it with confidence you can avoid trouble?" "Well, I'm really trying to avoid trouble, then how about a bet?" suggested an argument to the professor. "Argument?" "Yes, an argument to prove whether I'm lying or not," the professor said to continue Ian's thought. "So, you're going to try to reach level 93 before the start of next semester?" the professor asked in surprise. Ian agreed to these terms, and they argued. Ian was serious about this argument. "If I can reach level 93 before the semester starts, won't that prove that I had it?" "Right. Of course I play Killen myself sometimes. If you can do that, I'll solve your study problems," said the professor. "But if you fail, not only will you go for a retake, I'll also talk to your parents about your future." "Well, all right," said John. "And you must participate in the life of the faculty," added the professor. And the last thing the professor said was that if he won the argument, he would give John credit for his courses regardless of attendance. He said that because he was sure John would lose. "Are you sure you'll keep your word?" Ian asked. "Eh? Yes, of course," said the professor. "Thank you, sir. I'll try my best," Jan said resolutely. Ian ran to the capsule and went to Killen. Here he had already met Lou. "Well, Lou, we're going to have to work hard," Ian said to his pet. Ian still planned to get back to his previous level before the semester ended. And since Ian had avoided retakes, he would definitely be able to do so. To begin with, Ian came to the guild lodge. He rubbed his sweaty face and went in. Inside was a cute little man with a mustache. He stood behind the counter. "I want to join the guild," said Ian. "You must have reached level 20. Which guild do you want to join?" said the man. Ian knew where he wanted to join. It was the Lotus Guild. The desired level to join the Lotus Guild is 60. "I can post your request to join, but I'm not sure if it will be considered." "Do you wish to proceed?" the man said. Ian agreed. The guild leader is Ian's best friend, and he's close with all the main members, so it doesn't matter. The man has posted his request to join. It will be automatically registered when the guildmaster accepts it. Great. Should I write a message to Yu Haron to accept the request? Yang thought. Yu Hyun was offline, so Yang decided not to text him. The next point was the auction house, and that's where Ian went. There he could buy some equipment for himself. He had the advantage of being a successful rookie. He would change all of his equipment for the best items he could find. Ian arrived at the auction house. The bonus attributes of the summoner class are not added to his combat attributes, but to attributes that help with summoning, such as taming. Sooner or later, pets will become Jan's main power. But then Ian came across Mother Nature's bandage. It gave all pets a 20% bonus to survivability and a 15% attack boost. This item is definitely something Ian needs. He bought it and was happy that he had finally started selling items for summoners. Perhaps there are other Mother Nature items for summoners. Ian opened the game's search engine and typed Mother Nature into the search. And to his surprise, it turned out that there were more items. There was Mother Nature's staff, but there's a question. Yang uses a bow, so why does he need a staff? Ian decides to buy the staff. Can't he use only a bow forever? Perhaps with this staff, his career as a conscript will go up dramatically. He realizes it's still very early, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to get used to a different style of combat. It was a very strange sensation for him. Holding a staff was so unfamiliar. Yan called out to Lu. Medium training works even in cities, so it's better to use its cooldown, Yang said. Well, it's quest time. Their team can move on to new captures. People in town started paying attention to Yang and Lu. A lot of people were saying things like, "Hey, look, that guy's a summoner." People gathered around them. They were discussing the way Lu looked. They even called him pathetic and that he had a low level. One of the crowd said, "I heard that the summoner has a very slow pumping rate. I don't know if anyone has even reached level 15. It's time to do the quest to clear the Goblin camp. During this quest, the experience for the goblins is doubled. Ian will get all the experience alone." Ian found the first NPC for the quest. It was a man in armor and with a yellow cloak. He had a strange hat, and underneath it was a bandaged head. He walked up to him and addressed him, "Long time no see, Raphael," wondering if he had forgotten Ian after he dropped the character. "Oh, look at that, it's John," Raphael said. "How's it going?" the boy asked. The attitude didn't seem to have reset on him, which was a good thing. "You haven't had any trouble with the goblins, sir?" Ian inquired. Raphael was just about to say that they had trouble because of the goblin camp. Their mop-up team had failed to deal with them. "I assume you know a good mercenary who can help?" Raphael asked. John said he'd take care of it personally. Raphael was pleased, but he would still recommend calling someone else. Ian activated a new quest to mop up the goblin camp. But there was a problem. This quest was a group quest. Ian didn't know who else to invite. There were hardly any newcomers below level 40 in the guild. Ian asked if the sweep couldn't be postponed until he found the group. Raphael said he could do that for him. Then let Yang take care of the goblin scouts. The guy gets a quest called Kill the Goblin Scouts in Somer Canyon. He'll do it. It takes 30 minutes to get there and back. It pisses him off a little bit, but come on. Let's see, Yu Hyun, I wonder if Lee Hurst is online. Oh, he's online. Ian was looking for who he should invite to the quest. Ian chatted with his friend in the game chat. He asked him to accept the guild request, to which he gladly agreed. He also asked if there was anyone in the guild below level 40, but there were none. So he decided to ask in the guild chat room. Maybe there would be someone there. He was asked why he was looking for level 40 players. I wonder if everyone would be shocked if I told them about the quest with the goblins at level 20, Ian thought and wrote about it in their chat. Players were in complete shock as to how he with level 20 was going to pass this quest. A lot of people in the chat started writing that Ian is an idiot and must have gained level 20 so quickly at the expense of someone else. He tried to explain that he has a very strong pet, so he will do this quest. Well, if he has such a strong pet, then it's understandable how he reached such a level, wrote the guys in the chat. One of the guys in the chat room named Carvin said he had a level 45 friend. Ian asked to introduce them. It was the player, or rather it was her. She's from the production combat class, priestess, but it was unlikely that she would be useful in battle. But Ian had no choice. A priestess is a priestess. He just needed someone to start the quest and he didn't care what his or her skills were. That's it, Ian has left the chat room. Doesn't really like to correspond with guild members. He went to the valley with the waterfall. The weather was suitable for the quest. There was a pack of jaguars at the watering hole. They were drinking water and had no idea they were being hunted. One of the monsters was a level 30 Korkun. The Korkun is a species of jaguar that is hunted by Yang. Getting a hold of Korkun would be nice. This clump of fur is a bit lacking in coolness, Ian thought, looking at his wolf. But then Ian remembered that Lou unfortunately couldn't read his mind. "Hey Lou, you know how much I care about you, right?" Ian said carefully. Lou nodded to him. At this moment, Lou activated a silent threat towards his master. But it looks like Lou was really upset. Something starts to happen to Lou. He turned blue, his eyes were glowing, and a hurricane was becoming a hurricane around him. Ian didn't realize what was happening. He was just shocked. What was wrong with his pet? "Wait, really?" he said with surprise. Lou became many times larger. Around him were red lightning bolts the same as his eyes. This was the evolution of the wolf. "Finally he's evolving," Ian said happily, his eyes shining with happiness and pride. But it was strange that he was evolving now. Ian didn't understand what the requirement for evolution even was. He realized. Lou's potential had reached 100. His appearance will change if he evolves, right? Ian thought. It would be nice to make him bigger so Ian could ride him. A red beam flew out from under the ground where Lou was standing. It was like an explosion. Lou evolved. He changed. His fur became half as red as a lion's mane, and he became much bigger. Ian was very happy about it. His pet was now the coolest. Wolf Lou evolved into a wolf with a blood-red mane. His skill, fame, and leadership were increased. Lou had become larger than a coal bear. Ian's joy was unbounded. Now they could easily complete the quest. Jan petted his wolf cub, hugged him, and said, "Lou, I love you." That's really sweet. Lou's discharge has changed from ordinary to rare, and he can still evolve. So it's not the limit yet. If he evolves again, his discharge will probably change to unique. Ian trotted the game in the hologram and thought to himself that this class was definitely some kind of freak. "I wouldn't pick Corkin, even if there were 1,000,000 of them. I'd pick you, Lou." "Uh-huh," Ian said and reassured the wolf. Ian decided to try out Lou's new powers. Would he be able to carry him on his back? Lou didn't like the idea much at first, as it was a bit unfamiliar to him, but it worked out. "All right, Lou, go!" Yang shouted as he and his pet raced through the forest. They arrived at a canyon called Somer. The place is pretty creepy. "It's kind of gloomy in here," Ian said, looking around the area for the quest. He didn't understand why there was such realism in Kalen. It looked ghastly, dark, all rock and sand, and it was all enveloped in a thick fog. Ian's assignment is to deal with 10 Goblin scouts. Now that Lou had gotten so cool, they couldn't stop there. "Let's have fun, kid," said Ian. He activated the Wind Blessing as well as the Berserk Warrior Blessing. They came to the right place, and Ian said, "Lou, see those 3 goblins? Attack them. I'm right behind you." Those goblins were so ugly. Their eyes were as red as their tongues, and they were the color of swamp tin. With all the effort, Lou's attributes couldn't be less than some goblins. The wolf's combat intelligence should be incomparable to normal monsters. In addition, it now has 2 unique abilities. But there are always problems. Lou activates a vulnerability finder. Enemy weakness detected. Lou accelerated, jumped at the wolves, and roared loudly. The goblins were very frightened of him. They had never seen a blood wolf before. He dealt critical damage to the goblin scout. Lou is excellent as always, and even better with the new look. The goblin took 215 damage per second due to the bleeding condition and died soon after. Lou slew the goblin, for which he received 210 experience. Whoa, what the hell? A level 40 monster died with 1 hit? Ian was in a shocked state. That only amused the wolf, so let's move on. Who's the next goblin in line to fight him? The goblins were ready for a fight. One of them had a bat made of some kind of bone in his hand. He must be their leader. This goblin struck Lou with his bat, and the pet took 294 damage from this scout. But Lou's not the kind of guy who gives up after 1 punch. He strikes back at the goblins, dealing 495 damage, and he has regained his health. Ian watched the battle closely so he could help his friend if anything. "All right," he shouted. After that, Lou struck the goblin again and had already fully recovered his health. Goblins are really weird guys. They're easy to kill, but I guess these ones are tough. Lou was beyond pissed off. He wanted to get them all over with quickly. Critical hits on those monsters. Lou was on fire today. The new look is nice. "Lou, you? Thanks for the battle," Yang said and petted his pet. It was time for the second round. The guys were already ready for the next fight. This is the first time Yang uses his staff in action. He activates the staff and enters the battle. Lou has also already activated his abilities. While Lou fought the goblins like a tiger with meat, Ian meanwhile was lying on a rock, writing his favorite song and reading something on paper. Ian got a notification from the guild chat. It was from Carwin. "Hen, are you all right? We can talk," he wrote. He stopped Lou and said that was enough, then called him to his room. Jan wrote in the chat room that he could talk. Carvin was texted by his friend and she said she would play. Jan thanked his friend. The girl's name is Haron. Carwin once again warned Ian that she didn't know how to fight. What does he take me for? Jan thought. Ian bragged to his friend that he had cleared Samur Canyon alone. where he had killed all the Goblin scouts and raised level 5 in half a day. Carwin was completely shocked. He even thought that Ian was cheating. At this rate, Ian might soon return to his former level. Yang believes he will reach level 100 in 2 months. He had goals to reach level 50 in 15 days and level 80 in the next 15 days. He'll be level 100 in a month and win the argument with the professor. This argument will help Jan a lot. He went into the game's search service and started looking for Haron. He texted her in chat and waited for her to reply. She replied quickly, and they got into a conversation. He asked where she was. She was at the blacksmith of the city of Lucan. That's where Ian went. Jan arrived in the town of Lucan. It was a small town with small houses. He began to look for the location of that particular forge, and I think he found it. Ian's gaze changed abruptly, his eyes noticing something gorgeous near the forge. Haron was a very beautiful girl. He approached her and introduced himself as Jan. Her eyes were beautiful and big. "Hi, I'm Haron. Heard a lot about you from Carwin," she said sweetly. Ian wondered what her relationship with Carwin was, if they were friends, but she reassured him by saying that he was just a close friend. Haron had finished with her preparations and was ready to move out. Ian was already ready as well. "Do you have some special reason for going through this Goblin camp quest?" Ian asked. She replied, "Yes. There's a quest I want to do, but I need to do the camp quest to get it. It's a quest from Duke Trapen's castle cook, but I need to do it to enter the castle." Jan wondered that. Why would she go on a quest from the chef? She sweetly replied that her artisan class was cook. It's just as Carwin warned. "I heard from Carwin that you have a chef's class," Ian said calmly. In fact, Haron is also a cook in life. Ian had heard that it wasn't the easiest class, but it's probably a little easier for her since she's doing it in real life. "Yep, it's also more fun," she said. "After all, your real-world skills affect how good you are in game classes." They set off on their journey. The two of them had so much fun together, talking all the time. "Anyway, you're the first cook I've ever met," said Jan. Jan asked her to cook him something delicious next time. She was pleased and of course agreed. They walked over to Raphael. "Oh, you found a member of the squad," he said. But he warned that 2 men might not be enough. "I know your strength, Ian, so I trust your choice," Raphael said. He also warned them that the main group had just left, so they could catch up with them if they hurried. He also advised them to work together. The quest is called Conquering the Goblin Camp in Samur Canyon. Ian noticed that the description of the quest had changed a bit, apparently because he was late, but the rewards remained the same. That was good. They both got quests, accepted them, and got down to business. "All right then, let's get on our way," Jan said and called Haron with him. Jan summoned his pet Lou. He really surprised Haron. She hadn't seen one of these before. She was even a little scared of him. Since it was a 3-meter wolf, she could understand. Ian calmed her down by saying that it was his pet, not a monster. "What? It's your pet?" she said in shock. "Yes. What's wrong with it?" he added. "So you're a summoner. It's only been a couple days since the new classes were introduced, and you've already taken on such a difficult quest?" Haron said. "Oh, I just got a little lucky. This wolf isn't exactly ordinary. I can level up quickly, and its strength is more than enough for a bunch of goblins." Ian explained the situation. What a terrible excuse that was. But if he'd said he was only level 25, she wouldn't have believed it. "I'll wind you up. I'm level 45, but I still run away when I run into goblin scouts," she said. Ian was shocked at how she believed him so easily. It's not like he said anything like that. It probably had something to do with her artisan skills. The chef class isn't 100% studied. There are a lot of variables involved. There's no point in caring about scout goblins at level 45 if you're a tinker. "Thanks for that, but I'd rather cook than fight anyway, so it's fine. But your wolf is really cool looking. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it before," said Haron. "Ha ha, it looks like he's the only one on the server at the moment," Ian said with a smirk. Haron asked him if the pet had any kind of name. "Yes, his name is Lou," he replied. Haron really liked his name. Lou started licking her as a sign of kindness. She asked Jan if he would like it if she gave him some goodies. He replied that of course he would. He probably likes to eat. Haron gave Lou a beautifully plated pork steak on a plate along with vegetables. "Oh my god, smoked steak?" Ian thought to himself and even drooled at the delicious aroma of the meat. Lou ate the steak and his vitality increased by 200. He must have really enjoyed it. Ian didn't realize what was going on. "Ha?" he said. "What happened?" Haron asked. "Lou's characteristics have increased. It's probably the effect of Haron's cooking."